Two disabled guys and a mic.
Hello everyone, welcome to the show, Two Disabled Guys and a Mic. Today we have a special guest, a good friend of mine. I've known him for a couple years now. Ever since we ended up on the wheelchairs, our families knew each other, they connected us, and we've been in communication ever since then. His name is JC. I'm gonna let him tell you his story. I'll ask him a few questions. We'll go back and forth, and hopefully we bring valuable information to you guys. And hopefully his message touches a lot of people out there, and we get good feedback from you guys. So JC, thank you, brother. Thank you for coming to the show. I really appreciate it. For sure. And
Two disabled guys and a mic.
tell us a little bit about your injury, basically how it happened and when it happened, and we go from there.
Yeah, sure. It's been now. It's gonna be this year. Is gonna be 10 years.
Okay, a decade.
In May. So it was back in, if my math is right, 2014.
2014.
So
now that it's 10 years, to you, like I've been in a wheelchair 20, right?
Yeah.
To me, when I look back, it feels maybe like 8 years have gone by.
Yeah.
To you, how does those 10 years feel?
It feels like 100 years.
Feels like 100? Okay.
Yeah, it feels like a long time. But I'm blessed, I feel like I've been through a lot, but those lessons make you stronger.
For sure.
Like the saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
100%.
So that's how I feel. But it's the ups and downs, it's
like we all have.
what we all have, yeah.
We all have,
so
It's just a little tougher in our situations.
It's a little tougher, yeah.
Due that we have a lot of nerve pain, spasticity,
Yes.
and different things that just go through our bodies that we don't know how to explain sometimes.
Right. So the nerve pain, it's for, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there with spinal cords injuries that deal with this every day, and I deal with it every day. So
100%.
it's something that I don't wish it upon anybody, man.
100%,
it's really
for
hard,
sure,
man.
for sure.
It's it's difficult.
It's tough.
It's tough, man. It is.
So tell us, because I know our viewers are very curious and all that. How did your injury happen?
Yeah, like I was saying at the beginning, it's gonna be 10 years this year, and pretty much I was just a regular day on a Friday, Cinco de Mayo actually, May 5th. So that's still right deep in my mind. And I was finishing work and stepped out with some friends after would have been like 11:30 p.m., 12 midnight. I usually will get out of work like around 10:30. So that I just decided to go out, have
like we all do.
yeah,
Have a good time.
Try to relax, and it's a long day from work. And I got home, and regular day, stepped out of the car. Never had any like bad, like some people say. They ask me, you don't have any instincts,
Right, something telling you something. Yeah.
telling me.
You felt good.
Yeah,
you felt good.
No, it was just a normal day, and I stepped out, and I see a shadow, like two of them actually, and I'm like, I just turned around because I was getting my laptop and the things that I had in the back
car.
seat, in the car. So I see these guys approaching me, and I'm like, I just jumped. I'm like,
Right,
what's going on here? I don't know these people. So, and then I just first thing I hear, I don't hear it. I feel it. I feel a punch right on between my eye and my eyebrow, just right on my face.
Right.
Bam. And I'm like, oh, and I already knew it right there. I was like, oh, this isn't good. This is not
right.
good. This is
You knew something was going on.
something was going on. This is definitely a robbery, and I'm like, my life just flashed, man.
Right before your eyes.
Yeah, just like, oh my gosh, this is what's gonna happen. And I just started getting beat up, man. Got jumped. It was actually, and then two more guys stepped out of the car. That was parked maybe like 50 feet from where my car was. And I just started, just getting punched and kicked and elbow and everything you can imagine, man. And
right.
It was a nightmare. And so I was bleeding, and I was losing consciousness because they punched me so hard.
Right. And, yeah, you were being attacked.
And good thing that growing up, my mom and my dad put me in martial arts. So that helped. That I till this day I still think that saved my life.
That helped somewhat.
Yeah,
on the
because
attack.
I was able to,
right.
you know, it's 4-on-1. I mean,
Right.
what else can
yeah,
you
you
do?
can only do as much as you can.
You can only
Right.
do so much, right? So
And I know one of them at that moment then pulled out a weapon or
yeah, they actually all of them had actually two of them had guns, and then they hit me. I mean, I to this day, man, I don't know how I was able to take it for that long. you know?
right. Yeah,
So-
because the whole time it's a bunch of guys on you.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they have weapons.
And yeah,
So not only did they already overpower you and are beating you up,
Yeah.
they decide to shoot at you.
they decided right. So and then what happened? And then this is the worst part. And so I'm getting beat up and I'm getting punched and kicked and suddenly I lose consciousness, but I'm still like I'm conscious, or would you say like halfway conscious?
Survival mode.
Survival mode. And then they put me in the trunk of the car, man.
Oh, they threw you in the
They
trunk
threw
of the
me
car.
in the
Wow.
trunk. Mind you,
Right.
visualize me bleeding, like my
Yeah.
clothes are like full of blood, my shirt, my shoes, everything, man. So I get in, they put me in the trunk, and man, I remember, because I usually would get a new vehicle from the company every 2 months, and then I would check the trunk, you know, put my things in there and get
So they threw you in the trunk of your own vehicle.
on my own vehicle.
Okay, got it.
And the car, well, back then, this was what, 10 years ago. The cars back, and I still, they still have those cars that you have like a little string that you pull,
Okay.
and the trunk pops open.
Gotcha.
Like
Right,
they
right.
do it for that purpose,
Right.
for that intent, right?
Right.
So I remember I was like, the string's gotta be here somewhere, but it's dark, pitch black, man.
Right.
I don't see anything.
Nothing.
So I'm like touching with my hand. I'm like, God, please, there's gotta be somewhere here.
So at this moment, you still not injured from your spine.
No,
you
I'm
just
not.
this is just you've been
I'm
attacked.
still-
They
yeah.
threw you in the back. Okay.
I'm in the trunk and it's pitch black, and I'm in desperate mode, survival mode.
Right.
This is it for me, because I'm like, I gotta get out.
Right.
I gotta get out somehow. So I finally remember where the string was, and I reach out.
Pull it up.
I just pop it, and then boom, it pops open. The trunk pops open, and the car was already moving. So I'm jumping out of. I jumped out of a moving car.
Moving car.
It was going maybe 10 miles, 15. Get it? I was already jumped out, and I started rolling
Rolled
on the
off.
floor. Yeah, mind you, I was already bleeding.
Yeah, you're all messed up
I'm
already and
already
still
messed
doing.
up, so I'm like, my elbows are cut, and I'm a mess. And so yeah, the guys on the dash of the car, it tells them that the door
unlocked.
the lock. And then they stepped out. I hear I just hear the brakes, and I gotta run. I don't care how I run.
Right. Yeah, because you don't want a part two of the
limping.
attack.
I'm like, bro, I'm like crying. I'm like,
You've had enough.
At this point, I'm like, so they find out, and then that's when I hear boom, boom, boom. Like, I don't know how, maybe like 4 shots. And once I hear those shots, I'm still running. Mind you, I'm running somewhere. I don't know. I'm behind
Survival
the cars,
mode.
whatever. Jump a fence, and so I hear, and then suddenly, I just look. I'm like on the floor. I'm on the floor, and I can't move at all.
At
man.
all. You're trying. You're
My
thinking about
my
it.
hands are like stiff. My legs are like everything. And I was like,
And at that moment, because I know people are curious, because I've been asked before.
yeah.
They go, man, so what did it feel that moment where you couldn't
Yeah.
move? When my accident happened, I know I didn't realize anything until I was in the hospital.
Right.
In your situation, what you just said, you were awake. You're experiencing all this while you're awake, right? So at that moment, what went through your head that you remember?
Oh man.
Did you know at the moment something was wrong, or you were like, man, I don't know, whatever?
You at that point, you assume that something isn't right. It's because you can't move. I'm like,
Right.
This isn't.
You just didn't
This
feel
isn't.
normal.
No, this is not right. This is definitely something really critical, like really serious. And
Right.
so I'm looking at the sky, and I'm like, and then like a minute, 2 later, maybe like 2 minutes, I hear sirens, and I see blue lights, red lights, and I'm like, oh, this is definitely a cop. But there were like maybe like 25 cars there.
Wow.
Yeah, they dispatched the whole department, man, just for me. and I was like, they started like, I hear dogs barking, I hear sniffing, I hear, you know, but at that point, man, what do you think? What goes through your mind, man? You're on the floor, you're half dead. What crosses your mind at that point? I'm sure people can relate, you know, people that been through a hard situation like that,
a tough attack like that. Yeah.
What goes through your mind at that point? You know, like, I'm not even thinking if I was gonna walk again. I'm just thinking.
At that moment, you were still surviving. Yeah, you want to be alive. Period.
Yeah, I'm bleeding. Like, my eyes are still in place. My lungs, you know, like my, because I'm laying there and just stiff, man.
Now, you remember when those first responders got to you?
Yeah.
And kind of what they went through and told you and things like that, or
yeah,
not?
Of course, yeah. So I hear sirens, I see the lights, and I hear the dogs barking, and then, you know, and then I hear someone said, "Oh, you gotta get the chopper." You know, I'm like, okay, so I'm now my mind is wrong. Like, I'm definitely not in good shape.
Right.
Like, is my leg missing?
Right, you don't know. Everything's going through your head.
Missing, you know, I don't feel anything. I'm numb.
Right.
You know, so it's like, it's terrible, man. But so to your question, I hear the chopper, and I tell people what saved me was that there's a where I used to live. There's a high school next door, like in front, like across the street. So I hear the chopper was able to land on the football field. That football field. So I hear and then everybody, the cops, I guess the paramedics are like, hey, we gotta get him across the fence. You know, we gotta get him. And then I got the stretcher out. I can feel like going up.
Oh, so they went over.
So they went over the fence. They jumped. You know,
right. They had to do what they had to do.
They had to do what they had to do, right? So they jumped the fence. And I hear the chopper closer now. I hear the engine.
Right, you're getting there.
I can feel the wind, like, you know, so they put me in there.
But I'm pretty sure at that moment you even, and I might be wrong, but I'm assuming you probably felt some kind of relief by being with those first responders surrounded. Now you're out of danger, right?
I'm out of danger. But your mind is like,
still going 1,000 miles.
Thoughts of a mile. Like, what do you think at that point? Because I want to ask, is my leg missing? Is my feet missing? I don't know what's
going on.
I don't know what's going on. You know, so they put me in the chopper, and
what hospital did you get flown to?
Oh, they took me to JMH Jackson.
Okay,
yeah.
Good hospital.
Good hospital, man. So but to answer your question back again, this is the part that really till this day, man, this year to 2024, it's still deep in my mind. And the guy that's the pilot, he's like, I don't think he's gonna make it.
He said that and it's stuck in your head.
He's bleeding too much. I don't think he's gonna make it. And I'm like,
what little things that we go through and people tell us that really stick to our heads.
Man,
that happens a lot. For sure.
That still to this day deep, like, haunts me, bro. Like,
which is some of the things when I go peer mentor new injuries. And the family and the physical therapists and some doctors sometimes are there, and I tell them just some advice, you know.
Right.
I tell them sometimes just be careful of the things you say. Because at that moment we're absorbing so much, you know, because it's a new life, it's a new life, right? Everything going on, in those things will stick to us.
Yes, man. So I'm like, oh man, did he just say that? I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, so this is it for me, right? This is 26, 27 years old, and I'm like, I can't be. This cannot be it. Right? No, I can't. So, I'm now they lifting off. The helicopter's taking off to Jackson, and you land on the helipad. You know the helipad there. So
trauma center.
Yeah, the trauma center, man. I can feel the wind of the helicopter just going through, and with
that being said, I've heard. Right. This is what I've heard. That no matter how tough your injury might be and all of that, if you get flown to Jackson Trauma, I've heard your survival chances are like 90 something percent.
Oh, really?
Like that. It's very high.
So is
like,
that they're like
Jackson
that?
don't play from
They
what
don't
I've heard.
play.
I didn't go to Jackson, but I've mentored a lot in
Yeah,
Jackson
I know.
Memorial,
Yeah,
and
I'm aware. Yeah,
I've
yeah.
dealt with injuries that are like, oh my God,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
people are still alive. So good hospital for sure.
Oh man, I went to the right place then.
Right
I'm,
place.
I'm thankful, man.
For sure.
Because the pilot said that, and I don't know if he's watching. Or I don't know who he is. He was wrong, man. He was wrong. But at that point, he's seen so much. Well, that's his job. He's seen so much.
He's probably seen a lot that he made a call based on his experience.
on the experience. So he's not gonna make it. But here we are, man. So
Big blessing to be
big
here,
blessing,
right?
man. And yeah, I got flown to Jackson, and after that I lost consciousness. That's it for me. I was bleeding so much that
That was it, yeah.
To disabled guys in the mic.
So, all right, brother. So now you're in the hospital.
Yeah.
Now you wake up in the hospital room. Your family's there. What's going through your head? Like, what are you going through?
Man, it's at that point I'm still processing the information, like what just happened. Now at this point, I already know that what the doctor said at that point was he won't walk again.
Walk again, right?
Yeah, and I still remember it till this day that when he said that as well. So.
On that I feel you all day.
Yeah, and
100%.
He's like, I don't think he'll be the same again. So I'm like, oh. Yeah, but so yeah, I'm at the hospital. I'm at the ICU actually. I'm at the ICU, and the doctor says, I think we gotta open you up. We're gonna have to do a surgery.
Right.
And I was like, really? And I'm sorry. Okay, but we'll get back to you because we'll evaluate your situation, your injury, and we'll see if you need it or not. So I'm like, okay. So a day goes by. Mind you, ICU, everything is closed.
You're in a little room. Yeah, you're in a little tiny room.
You don't know if it's nighttime.
Nothing.
You don't know anything.
All you hear is the machines.
All you hear is the machines, right? And just as a side note, I will hear people crying. I know where I am. I'm in ICU. I know where I am.
Right.
I will hear people crying, like family members, and I'm like, oh my God, what's going on with them? What are they going through?
Tough moments, man.
Tough moments, right? And I will hear. So I'm like, my family's there, friends, family from, you can imagine, like California came to see
All the
me.
support.
All the support raining, man. And I'm like, okay, I feel like it's not, you feel like the support, but your mind is somewhere else.
Right. You're thankful.
You're thankful.
But at the same time, this I felt. I know what you mean. That where the support's there. I'm thankful. I was glad everybody was there. But at the same time, I wish they weren't. It's kind of how I felt. You know what I mean?
That's how I felt as well. Like, you're here, but I'm not here. Like I'm not here. Like,
right.
Like I'm somewhere else.
Right.
And so I'm in ICU. I was there for maybe, I don't even know, maybe 25 days.
Okay.
Yeah, I was there like 25 days, close to a month.
Right.
So
and then on top of that, what your mom, your brother, your family members are going through now, knowing what's going on with you.
Yeah.
Because usually our families know way before we know. You usually tell them, hey, this is going on, and then your family comes just to see how you're doing, how do you feel.
Yeah.
But you really don't know what's going on. You might assume something, but you really don't know what's going on.
Right.
So I could imagine your family was going.
Yeah, and so, man, mom is, at this point, mom, dad, my brother, the family is destroyed. Like,
broken,
what just happened? Why are we going through this? The questions.
Right. Why us? Why me? Why all of that?
I didn't do anybody any harm, this and that. And, I was thinking about my mom, man. I was thinking like, well, how is she going to take this?
Because it's kind of like we're putting them through our situation.
Our situation. And that's the hardest part, man. You think about your family. You don't just think about yourself, you think about your family.
What are some of the things, right, through your hospital stay that right now, looking back at those days, you wish were different, or you wish, or what would you like to change now?
Yeah.
That you missed back then? Like what kind of things, like information, or you wish they would have been more straightforward with you? How was your experience with the doctors, with the nurses, with the, that kind of stuff? Was it a smooth ride, or what kind of what kind of change would you have seen back then?
From my standpoint, like I would probably say the approach, man, my mindset wasn't there. I was very negative.
Right.
I was very negative. And you understand why, because your life changed. So my approach was very negative. I was
right.
Like, man, what's the point? And life isn't supposed to be this way. And I was in a bad place, man, bad mood. It's like, and like I was already out of the ICU into the rehab place, the building, right?
Right.
So I was in the rehab. I was there for 3 months.
Okay.
I was there for 3 months, and
how was that experience with doing rehab?
It wasn't bad, man. I liked it because usually what they try to do is they want to make it the ride smooth. They don't want to put you through like
more than what you're
already going through.
Right.
So that the PTs, the physical therapists, they were nice. The nurses were nice to me, right? So,
right.
And I made some friendships there. It was
because you had other people.
Yeah.
Not going through your situation, but different situations through rehab.
Different situations.
Right.
And you feel that the empathy, man. You gotta, I always say you gotta be empathetic to others, man. It's not just about you. So we made that connection. I learned from them, they learned from me.
Right.
Like
if there was a message that you could say to not just those physical therapists back then, but to all the physical therapists and nurses that are watching our show, what is one message that you would give them?
Man, the best thing I can think of is you always have to be a mentor.
Right.
You have no idea how much your wisdom, your knowledge, what you learn in school,
right,
that helps us, man,
tremendously.
Whether it's catheters, whether if it's positioning for any bed sores, all that, man, it comes in handy, man.
And I feel like they're mostly the people we really listen to. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
And yesterday, was very thankful to be part of a Nova Southeastern University physical therapy class.
Yeah.
And in that class, I was telling the therapist, you guys are not only going to become therapists to help us go through all these therapies and stretch exercises and these things, you're actually going to become a mentor. Just like you said, we kind of vent what we're going through to you guys.
Right.
And I was like, so be ready for that, because at that moment, some of us got very emotional. Some of us are down. We want to cry. We don't want to do rehab. Sometimes we're energized and we're happy,
right,
to extreme levels because we're going through something traumatic, right?
Yes.
So good thing that, we also let the therapists and the nurses know that they're a big part of our beginning process. Big shout out to all the physical therapists, all the nurses.
Yes.
We are beyond grateful and thankful to you guys, for sure.
We appreciate it because they're like
little angels to us, right?
They're our
for sure.
teachers, man. That they walk us through our new
through the new little beginning path.
Little beginning, yeah.
I remember one of the things I feel comfortable after being released from physical therapy, from my rehab, after living there for a couple months, my outpatient, I felt comfortable going back there. That was like my second home.
Right.
Like I felt good being around them. I didn't feel weird being in a wheelchair. I didn't feel embarrassed, or maybe not embarrassed, but you're nervous to how people now look at you, or it's a new life. So how do I look at people when they're looking at me? What do I? So, all of those things.
Yeah.
Which leads me to the next question, right? did you ever find out whatever happened to the people that attacked you, or?
Yeah, I did. This was probably the second hardest after my
Injury.
my injury. So 7 months, 8 months into my injury, I'm in a power wheelchair. You know, that's what they give you at the hospital, so you can move around. You're still fresh, and they call me. I get a letter. Actually, no, I don't. I get a letter first, and then I have some attorneys show up at my house, and they're telling me that I have to go to court because the individuals they got caught, right? So I'm like, okay, so that's some good news, right? Because some people are not as fortunate, man.
Right, yeah, they'll get away with it, and
get
that's
killed,
it.
or you see it on the news, man. So
did that bring a little bit of closure to you, knowing that they were caught, or
yeah, I mean,
didn't really matter?
It mattered, but like, damage was already done,
right,
mentally and physically. But I don't feel any resentments at this point. It's kind of like water under the bridge. It's kind of like it's going
right. It's just
I'm happy. I can say that I'm happy,
which is a good thing. You didn't attach to that. You learn how to let it go.
I let it go,
which is good. Which is another piece of advice that I like to give people when I mentor.
Yeah,
a lot of people go, but why me?
Yeah,
why this? Why that? And I get it because it's tough.
We get it. Yeah.
But I think if I could give, or we could give some advice to all our listeners, is try not to attach to the whys.
The whys, yeah.
Kind of just go with the flow and take those days, those challenges daily.
Yeah. Yeah, because well, in my case, you ask yourself, what good does it do to you to keep attached to something that's done so negative, and it's already done. Nobody can go back in time and change it. You just gotta start from where you are, and easy, right? You say easier said than done, but it's possible.
It's possible.
I did it. I'm happy, man. I can say that I'm happy. But to go back to your question, the guys, actually 3 individuals got, one of them got 65 in prison, the other one got 50, and the other one got 45. So the shooter got the 65.
The most. Okay.
Yeah, but it's unfortunate because that's somebody's. I think about that. That's, even though I wouldn't say they're good people. I can't say that.
Right.
But that's somebody's son that's locked up. But there are consequences for
their actions, their decisions and stuff.
And their decisions. So it brings closure. Because they're off the streets and they're not harming more people.
Right, 100%.
That's a plus.
Which, as far as they went with you,
yeah,
I'm sure they probably would have kept something like that going on.
Yeah, they got what they deserve. But the court process, the going to court, and that was so stressful, man.
I could imagine.
That was like seeing all these attorneys.
You're being reminded constantly. And you're trying to let go, and this reminder that's not finished yet.
And like, I'm sure people watch CSI and these shows like you see on TV, just like that. Oh, and how tall was he? And what did you do 5 inches to the left? And then everything's got to be so meticulous. Right. They want to make sure that
they're trying to get off the hook, probably.
Yeah.
So they want to see you make a mistake on what you're saying, and I can imagine it's crazy.
Everybody's innocent until
proven guilty.
Yeah. So they gotta make sure those were the shooters.
Everything matched.
To disabled guys.
So all right, bro. So now, I know you mentioned to me that you had a procedure that you flew to Puerto Rico for.
Yeah.
What was that traveling experience like? The plane and all of that stuff.
Yeah, man. I've been not just Puerto Rico. I've been in a lot of places. I've been traveling. But that's for another day. Right. But going back to the Puerto Rico. Yeah, I went to Puerto Rico for 3 months. I did a treatment there. It's similar to acupuncture.
Okay.
But just a little bit more painful because the physician that took care of me, he explained everything before going through it, and it's not invasive, so that's a good thing. It's just it's not a little needle, it's a big needle. So they go in through your spine, through my spine. They leave it there, just like acupuncture. If people have ever done that, they know what it's.
Right.
It's very similar to it. And I was there for 3 months. And he basically walked me and said, listen, I'm gonna do my best to try to get your pain away, take it away. So I said, yeah, I'm down with that, sure.
Right.
And
which a lot of people in our situations, we have
Yeah.
a lot of nerve damage, which causes a lot of nerve pain.
Yeah.
And different weird, I guess what they call ghost feelings and
yeah, man,
ghost,
tingling and burning and sharp, all that. I feel it today.
to this day, for sure. Yeah,
It's
non-stop.
It's non-stop. It just didn't go away, but he helped me at least to get off Lyrica, which is what the drug that
Right, you were
they
using.
prescribe for pain, for that
Right.
particular.
There's a lot of side effects.
A lot
and-
of side effects, man. You're drowsy. You feel like a zombie.
Like a zombie,
Yeah,
right.
you're like, but I'm good. So I was there 3 months. I had a blast. And it was challenging, because the sidewalks, everything it's smaller. It's
different.
the terrain is different. It's an
Right.
island.
Right.
So you gotta prepare for that. I wasn't prepared, but when I was there, I was like, okay, so
You start figuring out why you're there, right?
we're here, right? We're here. So
And how was the getting on the plane and off the plane experience like?
man, it was the first time. That was not the first time.
Okay.
Puerto Rico. I was.
You had previously done.
Yeah, previously it was. I felt like I was going on a chair of like. It's so slim, right? It's very slim.
It's called, I think it's called the straight back seat.
Straight back seat, yeah.
And
So
they strap you all up and
the hallway, right? The little plane,
Right, the
hallway
little
of
tight-
the airplane. Yeah, it's slim. It's something like
you gotta tuck in your elbows,
Yeah, you
your
gotta tuck in
knees, so
your
you don't hit the
elbow.
sidewalks.
Yeah.
I call it the Hannibal Lecter chair. That's what I call it.
Exactly.
So whenever I travel and they bring the chair out
Yeah.
because the plane hallway is too
Yeah.
narrow
Yeah, that's
to be
true.
able to go in the wheelchair,
Way
I'm
too
like,
narrow.
bring the Hannibal Lecter chair. You just get strapped up, and this is how we get in and off the plane.
That's true, yeah, man. So,
And I also know we get on first before all the people get
yeah,
on.
so the process is you're in first, you're out last, because you don't want to hold everybody that's
You don't want to be in the way.
Yeah, it's like
And plus, I know they also do it because they feel we don't want people watching.
we don't want people.
And I'm gonna be in all honesty. I think in the beginning of my traveling days,
yeah,
I was fine with that.
yeah,
Now I'm like, let everybody watch so they can see.
Yeah.
Well, because they, people need to see this so that they can understand. Because I know I've heard one time a guy in the airport say, "How come they get to go on first?" And in the back of my head, I'm like, man, we're about to get on these chairs, strap up,
Yeah.
get to your seat, and then hoping
yeah.
that the aisle seat on the plane, the armrest lift up.
Oh, that's
Because
that's another
they
thing.
make mistakes sometimes and they give
Yeah.
you a seat on an aisle where the
Right.
armrests don't come up. So now they gotta pick you up, and there's no room, so
There's
it's
no
like
room.
tight in there, throwing
Yeah.
you all around,
That's
and then tell me about the restroom things that we have to go through before and off the plane.
Yeah,
You
man.
know?
Usually when I travel, I don't, you got to learn about the bowel program and how important it is not to do it the day of your flight, because man, you don't want to take any chances. It's,
No accidents,
No accidents,
or
right.
you wanted to have to go in the bathroom at the plane. Why? Because
yeah,
plane bathrooms are not accessible.
they're not accessible.
I mean, basically the airplanes are not accessible.
Yeah.
Period.
If you mentioned that, I saw a video on social media. I think it was on Instagram. It was on the news actually. There was some this girl that she was a T level, and she dragged herself from where
Yes, from her seat
you
all the
saw
way
it?
to the
all the
bathroom.
Way to that was
So when
I was-
JC says T level, so the spinal cord
Yeah.
injury
Yeah.
is broken down into 3 different sections.
yeah,
Right? We got the cervical, which is on top.
yeah,
Thoracic, which is
yeah.
pretty middle of
the
the
middle,
back.
right.
And then you got the lumbar, which is the lower
lower
part of your spine.
Yeah.
So when JC right now say T is like the thoracic level injury,
Thoracic.
where this young lady was paralyzed, but she could move her arms pretty well, which is how she was able to get off her seat, drag herself to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And you know what? At the end of the day, I'm gonna be honest. I mean, if you gotta go, you gotta go.
You gotta go.
If it's that moment, it's tough. But
It's tough. Yeah.
it's one of those. It's one of those where
You gotta go.
we
man.
have no other choice that when you have to go to the restroom, you gotta be close by.
Yeah.
Or you gotta make something happen.
Yeah.
You gotta make something happen for sure. So I feel you on that.
You gotta go. You can't hold it. How can you?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you know?
one of those where it's not
Yeah.
like we can just stand up, go to
No.
the bathroom,
Yeah.
and use the restroom quick.
Yeah.
So with that being said, so the your experience traveling was pretty well. I don't think I've had any real bad issues.
Yeah.
How was it with the wheelchair? Did your chair make it safe? And
The first time, they messed up one of my casters.
okay.
It was-
Casters have the small
The
wheels,
small wheels
on the front of
on
our
the
wheelchairs.
front, yeah. So it was wobbly. It was all like shaking. It's
Shaky,
still
loose.
in place, but it was like just hanging for dear life.
Right. And to explain that to our followers, our
Yeah.
viewers, having a caster like that is like having a wheel in your car
Yeah.
with the lug nuts loose, and it's just shaking all over the
it's
place.
just-
That's what we feel with our chairs,
Yeah,
right?
Just wobbly, right?
Right.
That's so. But I made it safe. That's the only damage I've experienced. Just the
Right.
caster, which is I got lucky. Some people
right.
their chairs got
Broken, missing,
Yeah.
things like that. We'll have some future guests who I've known have traveled and gone through
So that
bad
experience,
experiences
yeah.
where the chairs are missing or their wheels are flat, no air,
Yeah.
and or sometimes they gotta go in a hospital chair to deal with the rest of their vacation from a hospital chair because their chair is lost.
Yeah.
And 95% of the time, I want to say from my experience, airlines will pay for your wheelchair, but who wants to go through that hassle?
Yeah,
Where you're out of your chair for 2-3 months
Yeah.
until the airline sends a check to the wheelchair company, which has to order your chair, and it's a whole process. So
Yeah, it's a process.
I feel you.
Yeah, man. So it's the for those that are freshly injured and want to it's like I'm scared to travel. I don't want to go through all that. It's not as bad. It's not bad at all.
It's not bad.
You get used to it. I think the toughest part is probably when they damage your chair. If your chair is damaged, and that's
And like everything in life, the first time doing something new, right? Something different.
something.
In our case, you travel before your injury. I travel for my injury.
Yeah.
So we already had a routine. So
yeah.
this is our first time traveling now
like this.
in wheelchair. So it's like starting brand new. You're nervous. You don't know what's gonna happen. But
good.
once you get those first
Yeah.
times gone, it's pretty much
Who's looking at me and why are you looking?
yeah, like why
you
and this and
standing
that,
there
right?
long? Yeah.
Once you're used to everything, it's like
Yeah.
whatever. So
Yeah.
that's a good message to send to our viewers, our
Yeah.
listeners. That at first it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
Things get a little easier.
But it's fun. It's fun.
fun.
Once you get it, like, man, this is now you don't think about it. After like the third time, you should be good.
Right, and not only that, but people like us traveling and going
Yeah.
to different places, these different countries and these
Yeah.
different states see
States,
our
yeah.
needs, right? And it's a huge population of disabled people out
Disabled,
there,
yeah.
millions.
Millions, yeah.
I know I've mentioned in another episode where you've read the statistics, I've read them before,
Yeah.
where every hour of every day, someone in the United States ends up with a spinal cord injury.
Yeah, good thing you brought that up because I don't know. I haven't looked at the stats recently, but I know a year is about 12,000 to 15,000 people injured.
In the U.S.
Just in the
probably.
U.S. alone.
So
So that's
it's
do
a
the math,
huge population, right?
That's a,
So imagine all of us traveling now. One day, if they make airplanes accessible,
yeah,
we're bringing a lot of that money,
yeah.
to be able to travel. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a big change that we would have to
It's a
make,
big
but
change,
it's a
yeah.
possible change, right?
Yeah.
And how could we do it? Only like how we're doing now, education. Because we didn't know these
Yeah, we
things.
didn't know, yeah.
Now that we're living through them, now we're passing that information down to the followers, to the
peers.
listeners.
Yeah, the peers.
And everybody's on the same page where we could make changes.
Right.
Which is what it's all about.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. No, and I could be the best thing to do is do your research, man. I do that. I want to know how many people are injured. How can I be a mentor? I got people like when I used to like go to therapy or any place, I'll be like now that I bring up physical therapy on NeuroFit.
NeuroFit,
360, right?
Right.
It's they've been around for about 10 years now.
Shout out to Guy.
Shout out to Guy Romain, yeah.
Yeah, man, it's my boy from way back in
Yeah, so he's been doing his thing
for a while.
and I met him fresh to this world, to this SCI world, man.
Right.
It was a lot of. He mentored me. He got me like through that slump that I was in when it was at the beginning. So you imagine I was fresh out the hospital, discharged, and he got me through it.
Again, another person you looked up to.
I look
going through those
and
moments.
even today, man.
Even to this day, yeah.
I keep in touch with him. He's very like active. He's well known.
And I know Guy, when we started the support group meetings back then, he was just a therapist. I don't remember where he was working.
Yeah.
But he would come and say, one day I'm gonna have my own gym and I'm gonna do this. And he's been with the support group from day one. He was always active and supportive and stuff. So
I know him from, I can say I know him from like the early days. And well, you know as well. So
right.
He's definitely one of the pioneers, man.
For sure.
To disabled guys.
So my man, thank you so much for coming, JC.
Yeah.
I definitely enjoyed everything you talked about. I know our listeners did too. What is one message that you would like to share with everyone watching?
That's first of all, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it. It's been fun. It's been very helpful to those watching. Very it's good content
for sure.
People that are freshly injured or even veterans, people that have been like us, that have been there for a while,
and people that are just going through a situation. You might be very uplifting to them. Your story.
Yeah, true. It could be an amputee. It could be a not necessarily SCI, but anybody that's going through a disability. It's helpful. So my message, just stay positive. It's you're gonna go through rough patches. That's life. Ups and downs. It's like you're on the road. It's a little bump. You're gonna feel it, right? It all depends on. I use an analogy. Your suspension. How good your suspension is.
How you get suspension.
That's your mindset.
For sure.
I've had down times where I won't even want to get out of the house. But that's you don't want to stay there too long, because then you get in that
negative space.
Yeah, you can't get out of that hole.
We can be on the negative space or in the comfort zone.
On the comfort.
You have to be out there.
Yeah.
For sure.
I've done a lot. School, everything you can imagine. I'm happy right now with my life. I'm doing well in every aspect of life. I don't know if I mentioned that I lost my dad for 25 years. He was my stepdad, but he was really my dad.
Right.
To me, he was my dad. So.
And the backbone support
yeah, man. He was my friend. He worked out with me. We went to the gym together. Everything you can imagine.
Right.
So that a dad can provide.
And this was just recent, a few months ago. So
Christmas Day.
Right.
We lost him. It was a hard hit for the family, but hey, we gotta continue but definitely
keep them alive in your memories and all that, for sure.
Yeah, it's been hard, but hey, it's you always gotta find a way out.
And I admire that about you, JC, that you have such a positive energy, regardless of the situation. All these injuries are very tough, not only on us, but our family members and those close to us. So my hat's off to you for keeping that positive vibe. I admire you.
Yeah.
And thank you for being here on the show and sharing your story with all the viewers. I'm sure they're going to love watching this episode. And thank you, brother, for sure.
No, thank you for having me, man. I had a lot of fun.
Killed it.
To disabled guys and the mic.
Wow. Man, what a powerful story, man.
Deep.
Incredible. Hope you all liked it. Thank you, JC, for sharing your story. I know it's not an easy thing to do.
Absolutely.
If you guys have any questions, any ideas, or if you want to be part of our show, right?
Yeah, for sure.
If you want to be part of our
part
show,
of the
make sure to email us at twodisabled@gmail.com.
Yes.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, follow, and share in all the social media platforms.
That's how we all grow. That's how we grow together.
That's the only way this platform can grow, and we can go ahead and
reach out to many.
Correct. Yes.
So let me ask you, man. So what's up, bro? How was your weekend?
Nah, man. So my week was pretty cool. Actually, I went to, for those guys that don't know, I'm getting my license to be a fire instructor. I have all my licenses. I hold the ISO certification. Yesterday I finished with another one, so I'm gonna go now for the next phase of my training, and then I'm gonna move into rifles as well. So I want
so you went shooting on the weekend.
Yeah,
Nice.
man. So anybody who has a disability that wants to learn how to shoot and how to protect yourself, if you think that you are not able to,
Right, or
hit
you're
me up,
scared
man.
and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, hit
Yeah.
us up. Again,
And I'm sure we'll do an episode at some point with the guns.
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
put them together, you build them and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So
definitely safety, always safety. That's the main thing. So, like I said, if anybody wants to learn a little bit more about it, just send us an email at twodisabledguysinamike.com.
at gmail.com. Yeah.
At gmail.com, and then we go from there.
For sure. And I know you were out there.
And
You got a
and I finished
tattoo.
my piece, my dude. I was
Nice.
waiting. So I waited like a whole year.
That
so I
came
went
out
and-
real
and-
nice,
and
man. I love
got
it.
the piece, yeah. So she said like in a month and a half to go back to do little touch-ups and stuff.
Which is nice because, that brings us to another topic. We have tattoos, and a lot of people out there have always asked me, hey, so now that you're paralyzed, can you still get tattoos on your legs? And I'm like, of course, every situation is different.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. I know my experiences have been nice where, make my appointment, I show up and they do the tattoo, and you just take care of the skin as you would normally, so that you don't have no infections and no craziness like that. And that's it. I know other people have sensitive skin, so it might be a little different. I always check with a doctor, I would suggest. Check with your doctor, make sure everything's fine.
Yeah, we're not doctors or anything
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. Just
so-
remember, we're just two guys just providing information and
Personal
just talking about us.
experiences.
This is funny though, because since when I started this, at first, being Hispanic and stuff, it's like, you are a criminal if you have a tattoo sometimes. So, the first one that I got, I was in high school, I got it on my back. And so, after so many tattoos here and there, everywhere you go, they tell you use this cream, use that cream, use this one, use that one, use this one.
Right,
Don't
different
put cream,
stuff.
don't do that. Dude, I used A&D for 3 days. 3 days.
And that's it.
No scabbing, no peeling, no nothing. And
Nice.
it heals perfectly. So,
I forget, when I get my tattoos, I don't even remember what I
and you
use.
talked about the color. My wife actually has a horrible reaction to allergic reaction to the color
To
red.
colors.
Color red, and we
That's
were
the
talking
one
about
color
it
that
at the
sticks to
shop,
me.
So yeah.
Hey, you know what will be real dope? If a lot of our followers, send us maybe videos or pictures of your tattoo, something special. There's a lot of
that
us
means
have
something to
wheelchair
you,
significations and
Like, for example,
disability tattoos
like,
for
for
autism, different things,
For me, all my tattoos mean something. So,
Right.
for example, this one is just here.
See,
You
like
got
the
my
wheelchair
wife and
stuff,
I.
yeah.
My wife is a cancer survivor, so I have the little thing right here for her. Then she's Jewish as
I
well.
think my
so I
only
have this
wheelchair
in
thing is like
Hebrew.
on my chest where it says life rolls on, and I have like
Yeah.
a wheelchair. So I'm sure a lot of disabilities out there got their disability
Oh
tattoo.
yeah, for sure.
It will be cool for you guys to share
Yeah.
with us. We post
Send
it
your
on
pics.
videos. Send us your name, where you're from, another state, another
Your
country.
story, why you got your tattoo.
Yeah, that would be dope.
What ended
yeah.
up happening at the tattoo shop? Was it accessible? Did they treat you right? Was it
Yeah.
easy for you? Did they make you transfer?
Oh, which leads me to another thing. I went out to eat yesterday with my fiance. Real nice restaurant close by.
Mm-hmm.
And ramp access to enter. There's a ramp access, but once you're inside, we pay attention to everything. Accessibility, the food, how's the service. Food was amazing.
Okay.
To die for. The drinks was good.
Okay.
The service, phenomenal. They treated me well, very, very caring, do you want to sit here? You let us know where you're
Making
comfortable.
sure you are okay,
Yeah,
making sure
different
that
things. So
following
I
the
like that.
disability
Yeah.
aspects a
So
little
far
more.
I'm like, okay, we're doing good. And right before we got our food, I'm thinking, you know what, man, where's the bathroom? So I started looking around and I don't see no bathroom sign. So one of the guys walks by and I'm like, hey man, where's your bathroom at? And he looks and he's like, oh man, you could go through the backside, but unfortunately there's tables and people there eating, sitting, so there's no way to go back there. The only way you could go to the bathroom is you go out of the restaurant, in through another door, back into the restaurant to the bathroom.
So you have to complete the puzzle.
Right. So what happened is, I wrote a review. I told them how phenomenal they were with the food, the service, loved it all, but hopefully they fixed their bathroom accessibility issue. Because I'm sure a lot of people go out, in scooters or whatever their situation might be in. they're gonna have to go the long way to use the restroom.
Well, look
and
at the
things like
difference
that.
between you and I. You are able to squeeze in places that I'm not, just for the single fact that your wheelchair is
Yeah,
shorter
little
than mine,
things.
right?
Yeah,
so
little
like,
things.
to your point, if someone has a power chair, how are you gonna be able to actually
Maneuver
get
and get through places.
But that's not the funny thing is that happens everywhere.
All the time.
Everything is very nice outside, but when you go inside, when it comes to the facilities, it's just.
And you
like-
know, I feel that sometimes that thought holds a lot of disabled people in wheelchairs away from being
Agree.
out
Agree.
into a regular life.
Agree.
Like
I'm
I'm
one
the
of those.
type. I'm the type that I look somewhere and it doesn't look accessible. I'll be like, let me go see. Let me go. Let me just go make a scandal out of this. You know, not in a bad way, but let me go and just, you know, like, hey man, I exist. You know, I exist. Can I also be part of this? You know, and usually most of the time people be like, oh, very helpful, whatever. But I see that sometimes those type of situations will keep people from wanting to go out.
Yeah, that is true. So when my wife and I go out, what we usually do is that she usually plans ahead. She makes sure that it's disabled friendly and all the little things that I need, so I don't get crazy and then my weekend or
Your
our
experience
week is
could be
ruined.
nice, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, talking about experiences, Bruce, since we're talking about that, I was at Disney, right? And they are awesome for people with disabilities. It's so accessible. If you're gonna go to any place that is accessible, that's the place to go to.
I agree. I've been out there and it's real.
They even call those ones. We were there, you know, so we call ahead to make sure that you get a reservation, right?
Right.
So we went. We did our reservation like it was normal. Like 2 days later, 2 days passed by, if I'm not mistaken, and then we get a phone call. My wife gets a phone call, and they want us to go to like several rooms to do like an ADA accessibility test to see how the
Right, how
wheelchair,
everything fits and all
if I'm
that.
able to go in and go out, if the carpet is okay or not.
Right.
So shout outs to them. That was pretty awesome.
See, and as we talk, I'm always thinking ahead, right? Different topics.
Yeah.
What can we share with people? What can we bring
Yeah.
to them? Carpet, man. Carpet is a big
Oh.
issue. But we won't touch on that right now.
Yeah, no.
So going back to the traveling experiences, you know, my fiance and I, when we travel, she also gets the same way as your wife when she'll call the airline and she'll be like, oh, you know, we have my fiance's in a wheelchair, manual. She wants to make sure everything's good. She'll call the hotel. Is there a bench in the bathroom? Do you provide a commode? Do you provide, you know, she's ahead of the game.
Yeah, because let's be clear, people at you know, they throw your wheelchair, they really don't care. It's, you know,
Half
they
of your
don't know
wheelchair
that-
might make it.
Yeah,
half,
they don't know that for
the
us,
other half
this
might
is
be
our
in
life.
Miami.
Yeah, you're gonna be in Pittsburgh and then your other wheel in Miami.
You're
yeah.
arriving to Jamaica, but only your wheels made it.
Right? Yeah.
Your chair stayed back and you know how it is, man.
And how about
And
you?
that was cause now what? You gotta roll in one of the airport wheelchairs.
And they don't have something that is meant
No,
for
and now
you,
you
so
don't come out all cool in the pictures, you know. Now you and your wife taking
that
pictures and you're
ruins
in
everything, man.
your wheelchair says Spirits Airline or something. You know, it's like, come on, man.
I went once to a place that it was accessible before, and then one day it just decided to stop being accessible, and they pointed out in front of everybody. The place was packed, and they pointed out in front of everybody why I couldn't go inside, why I couldn't get on that ride.
Right.
I remember my wife going and pulling the lady to the side and actually talking to her, because for the first time ever, it wasn't me the one that said something to
Right.
the person. It was her. Bro, the line was, you talk about hundreds of people.
Waiting on the line for the
That
ride.
ruined my weekend.
Yeah, one
I've
little
never
thing
been
can
back.
make it-
I've never been back, and it's been like 6 years or 10 years? I've never been back to that place.
Right, because see, that one little moment changed it all for you.
Yeah.
So this is how I feel happens to a lot of disabled people who, you know, don't have the right way to access bathrooms and different things like that, right? So that
Agreed.
keeps them from having a regular life. A lot of people might see a carnival somewhere and they see all the grass because the carnival now is put on grass and they're in a wheelchair.
Yeah, so I would highly recommend before you go out, do your research, That way you don't, your night, your weekend, your vacation doesn't get ruined. Because otherwise, man, nobody cares. You can complain, you can do whatever you want.
But I think
If we get together,
bringing that up to like the
awareness.
people that run those places.
Awareness.
Awareness for sure.
Like one of the main things that I always point out at the restaurants, and this is why I say I don't care. The little sign that says handicapped, I usually tell them, it's not handicapped.
Yeah, that
it's
word
disabled.
that word is not used
but-
anymore.
And it's funny because they go like, oh, but,
Yeah, most people don't know
they
what's
don't
going
know.
on.
So our job is to educate. So that's our platform. Our platform is to educate.
Share the information.
Because let's be clear, there's ignorance, but this ignorance that just doesn't mean
and,
bad.
and
It's
with
just
that
you
being
just don't
said,
know about
right,
it.
brings another thing that just came to mind. A lot of people go, is it okay if I hold the door for you, or you take offense to that?
Yeah.
I think that's nice, when you go places and someone in front of you goes, oh man, let me hold the door for you while you roll in or whatever. I don't mind it. I know I've met people in wheelchairs though, and I've been with them in situations where somebody opens the door and they go, what, you don't think I could hold it myself? And I'm like,
Yeah, but those are the Superman. So
but
this is
you got them out there. You got them out there. So a lot of people are confused. They're like, man, should I hold the door or should I act normal so they feel normal?
Yeah. Don't run. Make it normal. Just open the door like you opening the door for somebody else. Just right.
You could run for me. It makes me feel special.
I'm
you know,
lazy.
you know,
Well, it
shit.
depends who's running.
You want to run? I'm not
Like,
going to stop you.
why
I can't run.
Why you think I get the handles in the back of the wheelchair? Because I get lazy, boy.
You wanna
and I
kick
just
back.
like wifey just pushes, and I man, I get really lazy, bro.
I feel you.
So,
No, my
man.
wifey does a lot too, but I got that scooter.
Ooh.
So the scooter, you attach it to the wheelchair. We'll do a little
But to mention again,
little scooter session one day.
yes, sir. To mention again, our platform is to inform and educate.
For
All
sure.
right? No negativity. We all go out there. We inform. We
Make it
educate,
happen. We're all
and we
together
make
in
it
this.
happen. This is a way to do everything. This is a way to get around to do everything.
I know one day we'll talk about parking,
Ooh,
and we'll
nice,
explain.
nice.
Because I don't think, I hope one day we get as powerful enough that we could just change certain things. That's in a dream world.
Yeah, of course.
But
Of course.
things can happen. We can educate and give the world, right, a little feel of what goes inside our head about disabled parking.
Yeah.
Everyone out there has a different opinion about it, and that's cool, right? But we could at least share with one another, like, why I think even though you have a disability, shouldn't park here, or different
Yeah.
things like that.
Same topic. Wifey and I go to a restaurant Friday, right? We go to a restaurant. As we're pulling up, right? There's 2 disabled parking spots. There's one here, and the ramp is right here. So this guy pulls up in a truck here, and I pull next up to him,
Right.
right? This dude just gets up with his family and just walks like nothing. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, dude, I just want to go off, man. And then she knows me, my wife, so she said, Jeffrey. I was like, okay, but like, yo, the
Yeah,
audacity,
100%.
man. You can walk, dude. Just give that space to somebody else. Even me sometimes.
This
when
is
it's
how I
like-
explain it. This is how I explain that situation, right? Like, I've approached people like that, and I'm just like, hey, how are you? Good afternoon. Can I just ask why you're parked there? And of course, most people are gonna right there get standoffish, right? Oh, I'm disabled, and I'm like, yeah, I get it. You could be disabled. My question is, why you parked there? And they'll tell you, oh, I have, maybe a heart condition
My
or a
chihuahua,
breathing
my
condition,
purse.
and they're doing a whole shopping spree and all that. And I get it. Cool. I'm not fighting that. The part that I'm fighting is, right, you and me, we got to jump out of the car and build the wheelchairs.
Yes.
Like, we got to open the door all the way
yes,
out
yes.
to have room to build the wheelchairs, right?
Yes.
So that's our only option, to have a big spot where we could park, swing our door open, and build the wheelchair. Not only that, but what if while you're building your wheelchair, you lose grip of your chair and it falls? You don't want to hit the other car because now you're damaging property, right?
Correct.
So I don't care if you put those disabled spots at the end of the parking lot, the furthest spot you want, whatever.
Just make it accessible.
Yeah,
That's why
I just want to get back to my car
disabled parking spot.
and be able to get in and out without having
Yeah.
to ask for a favor for
know.
somebody walking, a stranger. So people that do that take the only option that we have away from us.
True.
while they have two options.
True.
If they park on the spot next to them that's not a disabled spot, they could still get in and out of the car.
100%.
I can't.
100%.
So why would you take that only option I have away from you if you could park in any other spot? That's how I argue that,
Again, just like you said, just educate when that happens.
Education.
We just,
And I know
excuse me,
we'll
do
make
you
an
have a
episode
second?
about this, so we'll go from
We
there.
explain.
But my man, listen.
Yes,
I
sir.
love the tattoo experience.
Thank you.
I want to say again to JC, thank you so much for coming by, man. Your
thank
story
you
is
very
powerful.
much, man. I hope you were able to change a lot of people's lives, man, because that was a powerful story.
No, for sure. And again, guys, don't forget to subscribe, like, share our videos. That way we can educate the world.
And email us.
Yeah, for sure.
Email
Two
us. Well, you can
disabled
email us at
guys and a mic at gmail.com. We always mess up, so we have to make sure.
Especially me.
Yeah,
Especially
we get
me,
those
I'm the
days. You know how it is.
Yeah,
Guys,
yeah.
I know we're on YouTube. That's our main platform that we're pushing. We have Instagram. Everyone can find us at Two Disabled Guys and a Mic. We have our Facebook, and we're hoping to soon join Spotify and also be on that. So with all that being said, my man, thank you.
Always
Happy
a pleasure.
St. Patrick's Day, by the way.
Yes.
You
Look
know how
out
it
for
is.
more
Content
episodes,
coming
more
soon.
content coming soon.
And I know we're gonna have some gear coming soon too.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna get to
make
that.
it fun.
We're gonna get to
make
that
it
for
fun.
sure.
We're gonna see. We're gonna show the world that we are here, man.
We ain't playing no games. We're bringing it. We're bringing it. All right, guys. Take care. Peace. All right, baby. Hit the record button.